외계인들은 아주 오랜 세월 동안 죄수들을 여러 시간대에 가두었네.
There's a magic fan where two cats become humans.
You stay here. I'll be right back.
That's what he says, isn't it?
All these going on the Simon Fielder soundboard.
사라지는 대로 간다. I am the most complete fighter in the world.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You can call it the art of fighting without fighting.
Stick around. Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Dodge this.
Oh, welcome to Dodge This! Action Movies Unleashed, Season 2, Episode 3. We're tackling the 2022 South Korean genre mix-up. / there is action in it, so it still counts. Alienoid. I'm Simon Fielder, and joining me as ever via the underground electrical wires of the internet is my good pal with his expensive microphone, Matthew Heighton.
Thanks for letting the listeners know how well I'm doing with my bought-in lockdown. Thought I was going to stream more microphone.
Mate, it already sounds amazing. I just thought I'd draw attention to it so that
the
people
microphone
can go,
isn't new, by the way. It's the
true.
arm. I've got a whole new setup. If you're here for the tech setup nerd chat, well, let's just say.
I know action fans like myself, they are chiefly concerned with audio quality.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just to sort of give you a little window into my world, the person who focuses too much on some things at the detriment of perhaps the more important things. Welcome to Dodge This, the best sounding action movie podcast on the internet. Pew, 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 pew. Very exciting times. Hey, we've got so much to get through. And as ever, I would like to just find out what you've been up to since last episode, since I say this is every 2 weeks and then life gets in the way.
Life finds a way, though, Simon.
That's true. And it's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, exactly. Movie references.
Here's what I will say, and this was highlighted, actually. I was listening to another podcast, I would argue, probably the biggest action movie podcast, Action for Everyone. And the guy who runs that was sort of, they were talking about these Vulture stunt awards and how Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday had won stuff and how it's such a great DTV movie. And he sort of like casually was like, yeah, we've had to sort of slightly pivot what we talk about because there's basically just not enough good DTV movies for us to do a podcast about them every week. And I was like, that rings very true, as once again, my things I've seen outside of the main movie of the pod are all things I was hoping to do a whole episode about. But I was like, I think they're 3-star and below movies, and I don't want to dedicate a whole episode to them.
Your letterbox looked like you're having a horrible week.
Honestly, I felt quite sad recently. I was scrolling through my letterbox of this year, and every single movie is 3 stars, apart from like 2. Apart from basically the ones I've talked about on this podcast. And I think I even gave Patan 3 stars on Letterboxd, but I was like, it's so big, we have to talk about it. Just made me feel a bit like, I think I need to just start watching other movies.
You have to balance. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the Oscar films. So,
yes.
Like stuff like that, yeah.
Well, we've also got to touch on that. Let's start there. The bloody Oscars, the bloody BAFTAs. Yeah. RRR won an Oscar!
And that live Natu Natu.
Oh my God, it was so good.
God, it was great. It was absolutely great.
I'll
Made
put
me
the
so
link to
happy.
it in the show notes if you haven't seen it.
It's weird, isn't it? Because obviously it's one of the biggest films in the world, but there's still a part of it that makes us feel like we discovered it before it got big.
I
So
felt like a proud parent.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. I feel like this is the closest I'm going to get to watching someone graduate.
I know. I was like, I feel like this Oscar is for me for having watched RRR before most people. Thank you. Where's my medal? Thank you.
This was great.
I was very excited to see that. And also Everything Everywhere, just absolutely sweeping the board.
Yeah, and also not just like it sweeping the ball, but the wholesomeness of all of it that like came
I
through
can't
that
get
as
enough
well.
of Kei-Hugh Kwan's Instagram. He's just such a delight. He's like a person that just started doing movies like 1 week ago and won an Oscar, even though he's like been, in the industry for years and years. But his enthusiasm and all his pictures are like selfies with famous people. Like he isn't part of that now. It's so great. I love it.
Yeah, it is good. It's good. We have got so much to get through, so I don't think we can linger on the Oscars.
All right.
Simon.
Suffice to say, our top 2 movies of the year. So
Top
two movies of the year.
I hated myself a little bit saying that, but
I think we can assume everyone listening also did too. So
I really half committed to it, so I really sold it.
Thanks so much for that. Let's talk about what you've seen that isn't Alienoid, Matthew. Anything bubbling up?
I've watched loads the last few weeks, but I have got 2 podcast appropriate films.
Hello.
So the first is I got to Creed 3 on the opening day. Oh, I've actually got 3 podcast appropriate films.
Oh.
So I saw Creed on the opening day, Creed 3. I absolutely loved it.
Did you?
I'm going to rewatch all 3 of them, but I think... So Creed is going to be the best one, obviously.
Well, I actually forgot to put it in the document, but since last we spake, I watched Creed, the first one, and enjoyed it a great deal. Yeah, thought it was great. And also, I was coming to it having not seen any Rocky movies. So I was I was approaching it like a millennial watching it. Like, what is this? What is this boxing series?
Never seen Rocky?
No, it's a major gap in my filmography.
What?
Yeah, I know.
It's a major touch point in all...
I can only imagine. But the good thing is, I didn't feel like I was missing anything having not seen them. I felt like, I was like, okay, let me just quickly find out who that character is, or like what the actual thing that happened to his dad was, or whatever.
There's so much. Well, this is a weird thing. I think Creed 3 would be my favorite Creed film had Stallone still been in it. But Stallone wasn't in it, and
he's great in the first one, I have to say.
He's brilliant. But I mean, he's been kind of trying to do that story since Rocky 5. So Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa, that was kind of the story he was always gunning for, sort of legacy and family and all that stuff. But then, it just sort of like Rocky Balboa is decent. Rocky 5 is absolute dog shit. But it needed that. And I think like allowing him to be sort of older and actually he loves that character so much. I mean, I'm sure fans of the podcast have done this as well, and I don't know if you have, but like the background of Stallone getting that film made, it's just such a sort of underdog story in itself.
Yeah.
And like everything that goes around it, to the point where he butt kissed the dog in Rocky, which you will have no idea about, is his actual dog. And at some point he's so broke, he sells his dog and he has to buy his dog back. Like he's that sort of levels of stuff happening for him. There's a million amazing stories. It's like he gets picked up by random from an actor friend who ends up helping him get stuff made and stuff. There's about a 12-part podcast just in the making of Rocky. It's a proper
rags to riches mirroring the story of the movie. So 100%. Incredible.
Because his original film that he wanted to make, which he did make, was about wrestling. But he ended up, Rocky was the one that launched him. But Creed 3.
Anyway, Creed 3 you saw, and it's podcast adjacent.
It is podcast adjacent.
Is it an action movie or is it a sports movie?
So I always will argue on this, but I do feel like it is a sports movie. I don't feel like I'd ever refer to it as an action film. And like, there's some amazing bits in. I'd say if you're a fan of Rockies or boxing movies or the Creed series, it's good. It's very good. It's never gonna it's evolving and it's becoming its own thing. But absolutely.
I think I'll work my way through 2 and 3 for sure.
Maybe watch all the Rockies first.
That's 6 movies, Matthew, isn't it?
Rocky
and you
1,
just said one of them was dog shit.
Yeah, only one. Rocky 1, incredible. Rocky 2, good. Rocky 3, good. Rocky 4, incredible for the wrong reasons. Rocky 5, dog shit. Rocky Balboa, fine. Creed, great.
Okay.
Creed 2,
what?
Creed 2 is better than at least 3 Rocky movies.
Okay.
No, 2 more Rocky movies.
Okay.
Next time I'm gonna have my Rocky movie order.
Okay,
anyway,
great.
Talking too long about Creed 3. It's well worth a watch. And the other one the other 2, I watched 65, which I was so excited about.
Oh yeah.
And it just, the promise of that film, man lands on prehistoric Earth with future tech, fights dinosaurs. What
Yes.
a
Sounds
great
great.
film.
I'm in.
And like, there's some really beautiful bits in it. Like the thing is, it just didn't have the action to hold it or the
Right.
tension. Like they were there, but it didn't pull it through. Like there was a really good sort of very basic man protects child sort of storyline. You know, your basic go-to action trope. Almost.
Basic.
Yeah. But
Shame.
it just didn't hold up. It was just like there's some really good flares, and it's so like even for a 92-minute film, it felt like it was probably 10 minutes too long.
Oh
at points.
God.
Yeah,
That
and
is
it
a
was
shame.
it was so lean getting in. Like the opening sort of vignette was like bam, and it's happening,
Yeah.
and you're just like amazing. But yeah, it just fell short. And I'd definitely say it's not a bad film, and I think Adam Driver is absolutely phenomenal in it. As is the girl. I don't know the actress' name, but she's amazing. But it just didn't. The dinosaur bit of it was the weird thing that didn't give you the chills. But yeah, it's absolutely a middle. Like it's by no means a terrible film. Like it's a sort of rainy
It's a
Sunday
streamer.
afternoon.
It's 11 o'clock. God, it's only an hour and a half. I'll pop that on and then not. It doesn't matter. Sort of Netflix vibe, innit?
Yeah, the other one, which I will say, is I got to see the Dungeons and Dragons film already. Yeah, they invited me to a little multimedia preview for the UK.
Well,
which was, and it's great. It's absolutely great. I absolutely loved it, start to finish.
wow.
And like, because I've played D&D with Question Time. If anyone's a D&D fan, comedians play Dungeons and Dragons. So I've loved D&D for a while, but you know they've never really managed to bring it to screen in a big way. And it's so lovingly done. It's so like the script is really plotted well. It's paced well. It's funny. The all the actors are great in their parts.
Is
it knows
Uni
its
in there?
world.
Does it have
Is what?
Uni?
Well, there is an Easter egg which is all over the internet already, and it generally is one of the few Easter eggs I've seen in a film in the last few years that's brought me to near pure joy.
Amazing.
It's great. But yeah, it's going to be out probably in about a week after this is released.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think even so, I went with some friends. We all got invited from Question Time, and one of them had never really played D&D, and even they said, yeah, it's really accessible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think you'll hate it, but
why?
3 stars, letterboxed.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm not sure if it's me or the movies at this point. We'll see. We will see. Well, I'll see what the general vibe is.
And yourself, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been attempting to record this podcast at least a week earlier by tracking down a movie that is worthy of an entire episode.
You've had a real tough time, haven't you?
That is relatively
also for
current.
listeners, like Simonson loves, like you can tell from listening, like Simon's things is like DTV and like proper, like, you know, hard to find action
Treasures.
films.
Yeah.
And he watches so many more films than ever make the podcast, because we've always said we want to celebrate films, not condemn them. But also on the side of this, I'm just a nightmare for him. Getting me to watch this film this week has been like a full-time job for Simon.
Thank you for admitting that, Matthew. Yes. It has caused me some degree of stress. So thank you. Here is the list of movies that didn't make the podcast this episode. Just out on Hi-R, Code of the Assassins, which threatened to be a lot of fun and occasionally was. Has a lot of quite daft Inspector Gadget style assassins with weird gadgets and things. Like there's loads of weird CGI. Every character that enters gets a Street Fighter 2 style intro screen, which seems really cool for the first 2 characters, but then there's about 15 of them. The movie has the most convoluted, confusing plot. I had no idea what was going on for 80% of it, and then occasionally there's a cool fight scene. Anyway, sorry, it's a 2.5 stars. Didn't make the podcast. Also, so this one was so close run. Bad City. This is by the same dude who made Hydra, which was a sort of chill wave, neon-soaked mumblecore Japanese sort of drama action movie from a few years ago that featured...
You just sound like you're saying words now.
I'm just making up words at this point. But it featured some really interesting, cool fight choreography. And this is like the follow-up to that. So you're like, all right, he's got more money, he's got more scope. And it does have more money and scope. But somehow it still has quite a meandering tone, and clearly what I want from the movie is not what the director wants the movie to be. And I think those things are sort of at odds. I'm like, oh my God, when this guy gets some money, he's going to, make his SPL, make his Flashpoint, make a full out, balls out action movie. And he's clearly not interested in doing that. And he's made another movie that's like Hydra, but bigger. And the action is sort of fine. And there's lots of like bigger battles, kind of melee stuff, but it was okay, but it just didn't land for me.
It's not a fielders. It's not for fielders.
That's why its name is not in the title of this podcast.
But you know what? Sometimes the DTV movie is inside you all along, and you just got to keep searching.
That's right.
You just
I'd say it's worth a look. I mean, it's out on rentals now, the final one, and I've not discounted this one yet because I want to lump it in. Because on its own, I'm not sure it deserves an episode. It's called VR Fighter / it's called something else. It's been like rebranded VR Fighter. Anyway, it's a Chinese straight to streaming movie, which I enjoyed quite a lot. And it's probably 82 minutes long. So it ticks a lot of boxes. But I think in conjunction with maybe one or two others, we'll do the Chinese DTV episode. But that episode is not today.
I'm going to watch it this week because you've sent it.
Yeah, I would start with that one because it sets out its stall so early, just going, we haven't got a lot of money, but we've got a lot of action, you guys. And then kind of just continues in that vein. I don't think you'll be bored by it. You might laugh at it and with it. But
I'll give it a go.
It's got some good fisticuffs in it. So we're gonna put a pin in VR Fighter.
Oh,
maybe...
I don't like violence.
Ah, right. In that case, you might prefer VR Animal Crossing.
Do you know what? There's violence in that. You can feel it. They're savage.
So that and Creed. Creed was good. Enjoyed it. But is it an action movie or is it a sports movie? More on that to come. I think that's pretty much everything I've watched. And I'm up to the penultimate episode of The Last of Us.
I finished it.
So I don't want to spend any more time talking about it, but it's still absolutely great.
Yeah,
Shall we delve into the quagmire of Simon has put too many trailers?
Yeah, we're going to rattle through these because, oh boy, after saying there wasn't much coming out.
Yeah, it turns out
we are about to end an action season though because we're going towards spring summer. So yeah,
I know.
It does make sense.
We haven't mentioned it yet, but he looms heavy in the air, and I dare say the next episode of this podcast might have the number 4 in the title. Oh, not because it's also episode 4. Fuck, that's not clear enough.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
John Wick 4's out next week.
Yeah.
Let's do the trailers.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Trailersville 2023. Well, let's rattle through these. First of all, we didn't mention it last time. Fast X. I have very little to say about this since I still haven't seen Fast 9, but I have seen the previous 8. It looks like it's another Fast and Furious movie.
I've missed a lot of the Fast franchise. I just need to catch up. I did say to my wife, I'm going to watch all 9 before this comes out.
That's too many, Matthew. That is too many. But what a journey it'll be. My honest opinion about this is I think they've arguably been entertaining but diminishing returns since 5.
Okay. Well, Fast X doesn't look like it's going to buck that trend.
No, but I will say...
I laughed out loud at the trailer twice, and I don't normally do that.
I think maybe the door that Indian mass entertainer spectacles has opened will be scratched, to mix metaphors, by Fast X.
Yeah. I'd say that.
It will deliver that level of insane, ridiculous action. And if you set your brain to the right setting, I think.
I love him. I'm no qualms with where that franchise went.
Fair enough.
Love it.
Fair enough.
Love it.
Right, done. We've got too many trailers to get.
That's a really good segue though, because Martin put me in exactly that mind.
Right. I wish I knew how I discovered this. I think the YouTube algorithm now knows it needs to serve me a lot of Indian action movie trailers. And this one is called Martin. I think the chief reason that I've put it in is because it put me in mind of the bad guy from Patan being called Jim. The fact that now there is a movie called Martin where he's like this hulking, huge hard ass, but he's just called Martin. I just find that very enjoyable.
I couldn't tell what was going on in this trailer.
Absolutely
I don't know
idea.
who I'm supposed to be rooting for. I don't know why it's a Fast and Furious movie in the middle.
I know that it is an Indian blockbuster and it checked every single box of things to expect from a trailer, including some very good like editing on various like guns being cocked and like all that sort of trailer editing.
It's absolutely
no clue what the movie's about.
Yeah, it looked like every anime I've seen from the mid 2000s.
It looked like so many people are going to get clotheslined and sort of kicked with like just a really mediocre looking push kick to the chest, and then they're going to fly backwards 20 feet. It looked like that.
In slow motion.
Yes. I hope that some of the sort of next level of action choreography that we've seen in movies like Patan and War will seep into this movie, and it won't be kind of the very old school everyone on wires flying around action, but who knows?
Oh, also, can I check? At the end of the trailer, when two other massive dudes come in, was that old Rictus Erectus?
Who's he?
I
did recognise one of them.
The Nathan Jones. He's in Mad Max. He plays like Thingy's son called
Quite
Rictus
possibly.
Erectus.
Yeah.
Which is just the best Mad Max name of all time.
There's only so many guys of that size in movies. I was like, oh, is he the one from Game of Thrones, or where have I seen him before being an absolute power Hulk?
I think it's old Rictus Erectus.
Say it one more time.
That name. You say it. It's really fun to say.
Rictus Erectus. It sounds like a line from Life of Brian.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah, I have nothing more to say about Martin. I'm sorry, I don't know more info about any of the people involved. I will, in time, our knowledge of Indian movies will expand. But now it is just an absolutely over-the-top insane trailer.
Keep those trailers coming, Simon.
Here we go. Gerard of Butlerton is back in Kandahar. This one looks like... Now, last time we talked about that Guy Ritchie Middle East war movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, and now Gerard is in this one.
There seems to be a really resurgence for... remember when we made all those films because the Iraq War was happening?
Yeah.
It feels like that. It feels very out of place in this day and age. Like, because it doesn't feel like it can be a period film yet. So it doesn't feel it has that distance. It just feels like this sort of film, I'll say, in the pyramid that is the action genre, I'd say this is the sort of film that does the least for me.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the trailer, I was like, unless Simon tells me to watch that, I'll never watch that.
Unless Simon tells me to. It's like a little bit of a war movie, a little bit of a I've got to go back to save this guy movie. Yeah. It's hard to know where it's going to land, isn't it?
There's a line in the trailer which is something like, it's only 30 miles. It's not that far. It's just everything in between that's hard. I was just like,
not keen.
No.
He's not keen. Yeah, this is a full TBC, I think, on this one. We hope they're all good.
But I mean, then you said Plane was good.
I've got time for Gerard Butler.
I've got time for Gerard. No issue there.
There's a part of me that's almost tempted to watch Angel Has Fallen because I've read and heard a few things about it are okay. I've seen the first one and not the ones in between.
That's the gritty Buffy spin-off, is it?
Yeah, he's mad. And he's taken over a North London tube station. And
To that, I would watch that movie.
There's such a big escalator, you guys. Imagine the action scene you could have on that. And not just that YouTube video of a guy on skis.
Wow. There we go. A lot to take in that sentence. It is a good, it's a classic YouTube.
London banter on that one. Right. We've got arguably 3 more to get through here. Okay.
Let's end with the big guy.
Okay.
So let's do this one. I don't even know what this film's called, Simon.
Is it Customs Frontline?
Yeah.
Yes. It's out of Hong Kong. I put it in just because I'm excited to see action movies coming out of Hong Kong because they're so few and far between these days.
Yeah.
And it's got old Nicky Tsay in it from Raging Fire.
Which is what made me go, okay, exactly those things made me go, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on this just because it ticks all the boxes. Trailer didn't do much for me.
Yeah. It's a full could go either way one, I think. I'm excited to see those people in action, lots of guns, some martial arts. It's set in Hong Kong, so it gives me a warm feeling inside. But there are a lot of movies that look like this that weren't great in the past, so we got to wait till it comes out.
All the materials are there, though.
They've got all the building blocks. All we need is them to...
Let's keep moving, though.
Oh, goodness. It's such a fast... More. I'm getting travel sickness from the speed of the trailers. Right, this one actually caught me off guard. Ghosted. Yeah. Coming out on Apple TV+.
When you sent me this, I started watching it. I was like, has he just copied the wrong trailer?
Exactly my thought. When I started watching the trailer, I was like, I don't know why I've clicked on this, but evidently the marketing has worked very well. It looks like a rom-com. And then it turns into, I suppose, a action com. Com action.
Romshin.
A Romshin movie?
Con.
Oh, God. And then the podcast is just an hour of this and it fades out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it starts off like a rom-com and then it turns into an action flick. It's Ana de Armas being all actioned up. Whatever she did in that Bond movie made everyone go, she looks bloody great wielding a submachine gun. Let's make her do that in a lot of movies going forward.
And also, it's, unless I've missed something, the first time they've paired them back up because it's old one of the Chris's, isn't it? And they haven't been together since Knives Out.
Pine. Is it Pine? One of the Chris's.
It's the Evans. It's an Evans.
It's Evans. Is it Evans or Pine?
It's Evans.
Is it Evans? Okay, yeah.
Pine Star Trek.
Pine is Star Trek. Evans is the grey man.
There's three Chris's. You've missed one.
Who's
Chris.
the other one? Chris, the other Chris Evans from UK TV.
Yeah, the other Chris Evans. Come on, you can do this. The three action Chris's at the moment.
The 3 action Chris's. Oh man, if I don't get this, I'm gonna have to fire myself from the podcast.
You will probably say it's on Action Star.
Okay, we've got Pine from Star Trek.
Yeah.
We've got Evans from The Grey Man, and we've got Chris from a Marvel movie.
Yes.
Okay, narrow it down for me, Matthew. We have to motor through these trailers.
He is... you could say, it's a Chris.
Oh, Chris Pratt. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have him as action in my head, but you're right, yeah.
Jurassic World franchise.
He's Jurassic.
Yeah.
And The Terminal List, actually. He was very hard in that. I enjoyed that.
They're the action Chris's.
All the action Chris's.
Action Chris's.
Love that show. Anyway, Ghosted, again, I'm going to categorize it as 100% could go either way. It could be trying too hard and the action is not very good and there's too much on a massive green screen, or it could be like, oh, surprisingly fun, actually.
It put me in mind of a modern True Lies. Could go that way.
Yes, that's a good one, actually. But with the roles have been reversed because she's the spy. Final trailer. And I had to put this in, even though it did absolutely nothing for me. Yeah. But
it's the return of Arnold. Arnie's coming back to do an action thing on Netflix called Fubar.
That is some Arnie there, Simon.
Yeah, I've been working on that for...
Get to the chopper.
Yo, get yourself to the chopper, you, please.
I need your clothes, your boots, and a bus timetable.
Consider that a divorce.
Yeah.
Your luggage.
Wow, that's a deep cut. Eraser. All right. You'd love to see that. Right, Arnie, we're talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, in case you hadn't got it from our pinpoint impressions. He's back in a Netflix series?
I don't know what it is. It's such a teaser. The whole marketing is done what every 5 to 10 years does. Arnie has what is quote-unquote a comeback. So he says, I'm back. And then that's the whole marketing campaign.
Literally could be anything at this point. And someone punches him in the dick. And we're
little
supposed
cock tap.
My laugh. If it's like this is what we're expecting, I'm not holding my breath for this one.
I will watch anything with Arnie in. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think there'll be no avoiding it whenever it drops. So we'll definitely touch upon it in a cock tapping way.
You could say we'll be back to discuss it.
I'll be back. You stay here. I'll be right back.
That's what he says, isn't it?
All these going on the Simon Fielder soundboard. I'll be right back.
Right, the trailer section has gone on far too long. And the movie that we've got to talk about is so long and it's got so much going on. I'm activating Feature Prez.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dodge this.
We are talking about South Korea's 2022 movie called Alienoid from director Dong-hoon Choi and writer Dong-hoon Choi. I should have said writer-director, but it was too late. Matthew, I usually like to have you do the little summation to give us a little plot sum up at the beginning. And I think this one could be one of the hardest, but I think you're going to nail it because this, even I, as I was watching this, was like, bugger, I think this might not be an action movie, but
it absolutely is. We're going to have this talk.
And then about halfway through, it absolutely allayed all of my fears. So let's start us off by giving us a little outline courtesy of mheighton.com.
Okay, so aliens are using human bodies as prisons for their worst criminals. They are bringing the prisoners to Earth, putting them in the bodies, and there is a robot guard that is sent to Earth to keep an eye on it.
I knew you'd be good at this already.
That already is a good hook.
Yes.
But get this. I wouldn't say when it's set because it's set over multiple timelines because given the technology, time and space essentially exists at all points. So there's about 3 interweaving threads that are working towards a closed point onto how and why one of their worst criminals has escaped. You will discover that along the way because at first it is just a lot of like, oh wow, what is going on? Essentially, robot guard kills an alien prisoner and their human host decides to take their child and raise them using their wacky robot sidekick that's kind of an AI. The child grows and ultimately fate intervenes and the guard and their sidekick aren't the ones who are going to save humanity from their escaped worst prisoner. It turns out destiny has a plan for the child they raised but did not want all along.
The DTV was in our hearts all along.
It was. It was.
This is not DTV. Let me put that out right at the top. This is a big budget blockbuster. I wish I could have seen this in the cinema because it demanded that.
This is experience cinema at its biggest.
Yeah. A part of me, and I don't know whether I'm saying this in a detrimental way or I'm kind of just going to say it on a sort of level platform. This is almost like a Marvel movie.
Yeah, this is.
How do you feel about that?
I would say yes, absolutely. What is lovely at the moment is I don't know what's going on in South Korea, but the last 10 years they're in a bloody renaissance for film.
They are absolutely killing it.
But what they're doing is what everyone keeps screaming at Hollywood to do: big original ideas,
IPs in it,
and like for some reason in the West, Netflix is doing that. But they're not doing it in maybe Netflix. And we talk about this a lot, but Netflix, there's something about Netflix that sits between TV and cinema when they do films. They don't always reach that. And that's not everything. There is a lot of films that are very cinematic, very big. Netflix, God love them, have done something for modern cinema and modern filmmaking that was massively needed.
Yeah.
That said, the massive budget Hollywood, like we were just taking, like the Marvels and stuff, those big fantasy action films, they all seem to come from franchises and they all seem to have a system through them. There's something going on outside of the West, and South Korea is doing this in a big way at the moment. There's films like, I'm trying to think of some. Alive, that was one of their big ones. Obviously Parasite in a different way. But they're doing something where they're doing the original IP that is just crammed with ideas. And this is, for anyone who's listened to this podcast, Alienoid is exactly what I love. It is absolutely bonkers.
Too many ideas, some could argue, but that's a tough argument to level as a criticism.
But this, yeah, I mean, I read some of the reviews and the feedback, and like a lot of them are exactly what I hate about films. Are going, you're not going to have a clue what's going on. Yes, you are. It is all there. It just doesn't spoon feed it to you.
That's true, yeah.
Like
compared to Code of the Assassins, where I genuinely was like, I am trying my best to work out who everyone is and what they want. And I was like, I don't know. Whereas this, I was like, it does feel confusing, but it does sort of quote unquote make sense. It's all laid out for you. They tell you everything you need to know, and you kind of in spite of the fact that, as you say, it's set across ostensibly 3 time periods. It all interweaves, but it is long. It's 2.5 hours.
2 hours.
It does kind of make sense, and I say that having not tried to overthink it from having seen the end backwards now and go, oh no, wait, that doesn't make sense. But when you watch it, it seems to. But
this is the thing. It's got to be said straight away going into this, and it is listed as this some places, but not all. It is essentially Alienoid Part 1. This is not. You're not going to get closure in this film. There is so much going on in this film.
Good to know,
because it weaves to a cliffhanger point.
And apparently they were filmed together. So part 2 was filmed.
Oh, it has been filmed. I didn't know if it
at the same time as part 1. Yeah, so it already exists and is apparently out this year, which is good to know. It's not like Netflix is going to be like, no, not successful enough actually. So that's what I've heard.
This is great. I love this film. I absolutely love it because, again, 2 things. Its ideas are through the roof. Like, they have gone, we're going to run with this. So like, even like when an idea is big, a lot of it's sci-fis or fantasies, they fall apart because their internal logic doesn't match. What I love about this is their internal logic, they've gone through it, but they're not giving you everything yet. You have to figure it out as the characters figure it out. So it's not like you're not going to get any big rafts of exposition. You get enough to understand what's going on. And luckily they have that beautiful trope of child discovers something, has to have it explained now.
That's true.
You do get it. But
I was going to say, I don't remember any characters doing like a lot of exposition, but that would be the only time. Other times they just like cut back to the 1300s, and you're like, okay, what's happening now?
Well, I can't believe I'm saying this. My weirdest thing about this film, if I had any niggles, it's not even a niggle. I can handle the idea of aliens using humans for prison. Big villain escapes, tries to commit human genocide, essentially. For their own gain. And I can handle that they throw them back in time and go through time, that time, because of this technology, exists all in a non-linear format. Fine, they're bouncing around. What I couldn't understand, and I thought was going to get it explained to me at some point, and some of it does get explained, some of it is, so basically, if the human host of the prisoner, if their alien becomes aware they're in prison, they essentially take over the human host, and they essentially get superpowers. That is fine. I'm down with that.
That's fine.
I understand that. That's fine. That's internal logic.
Yeah.
What I didn't understand that is why in the 1300s is there magic?
Yeah, that's never really explained, is it?
And I didn't know if that was going to be alien tech, old tech that's done this.
No, I mean, when I say that this movie is like a genre-bending mishmash, it's like everything that happens in the 1300s is basically like a wuxia movie. It's magic. It's people leaping across rooftops, and that just kind of is the default. Like, this is when this is set, and it's this type of movie. It's like a Chinese wuxia movie. And that's never really sort of explained, is it? It's just like, this guy knows magic. So that might be useful later.
What I love about this is exactly that. Their period affects how their characters fight, how they interact, how they move. And there is an old trope of in fantasy and sci-fi, which is like, old world is magic, and at some point around the industrial age, it becomes science. And that's exactly what they do with this film. I do like that. It just, I thought there was going to be sort of more of a link, which probably is. There's probably going to be something in part 2.
Yeah,
like,
who knows?
You will watch a lot of this film going, I don't know what's going on, but it's like a plait. It's like 3 strands of hair, and as it peaks, it's sort of the last 20 minutes, it all starts to bleed together.
Yeah.
And it's so lovingly done. And there's so, like, what I love about this is it's funny. When it's comedy,
it is also funny. At the beginning, when I was kind of having the, oh no, I think this is not an action movie doubts, was because it felt like a caper. It felt like one of those 80s, 90s, like almost like Psycho
Flight of
Gorman
the Navigator,
as well.
that
Yes.
sort of thing. Like, yeah.
Yes. It felt like it might be a Flight of the Navigator, like action, adventure, family, warm-hearted comedy. Yeah. And it is that for
but
certain
then it's
periods.
Dark at times as well.
And then it's a wuxia movie. Then it's like a superheroes, like pew pew aliens, buildings being destroyed, enormous spectacle blockbuster. It's so many things. And then also it doesn't have the Marvel sugarcoating, like no blood, no over-the-top violence. It's South Korea, so they're like, well, we're going to have violence. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good night. It just does so many things.
It does, and it's like, so I finished watching this at 1:30 this morning.
Yeesh.
Because I am very organised. And I said to you last night, didn't I? I said to Simon, I was like, I'm going to watch half tonight, and then watch half in the morning.
I was like, that's a bad idea.
I can put it down. I can stop. It is 2 hours and 22. Feels like a 90-minute film for me. It just, everything was so well paced for me. Like every beat, even when they throw into a little comedy thing, it's all for purpose. There's no there's a million times where whenever this script was going together, they went, this would be bananas or this would be cool. But everything is for purpose. There's no unnecessary stuff in this film, I don't think. I think everything drives it forward. Every character has an agenda that moves them forward, and everyone is evolving from what happens in the piece. So if something happens to a character, it's going to affect a version of themselves down the line. And I love that. I love that it was for purpose, and it wasn't just like, we've come up with this mad script and let's film it. Everything has been thought through from the tiniest details to the point where they know what's going on so well, they don't have to give you all that information. They don't have to try and justify it through exposition, because they go, we know what's happening and you will at some point too. And it is great. And anyone complaining about, oh, you won't understand what's going on, just watch it again. You will.
That's it.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any points where I was like, I've genuinely got no idea what's going on. It's not like annoying. At the times when you're like, I'm not entirely sure, then give it time, it lays it all out for you. When there's like the 2 mages arrive and you're like, what is this now? What are these characters? There's a character called Dog Turd. What's going on?
Yeah. There's a character called Dog Turd and a really good joke payoff where someone calls him dog shit. And then I love you translated that for us. Great.
Extraordinary scenes. Yeah. But all these sort of characters come in and you're just like, I don't know why these characters are here. And then it all gets revealed and they all have a part to play in kind of the finale, I suppose.
But again, what I love about this is there's no non-flawed character. Even the kid is flawed. Like, everyone's a bit shifty in it. Everyone's got a little
everyone is a bit shifty.
Everyone's got their own hustle going on. But when things get serious, they all do that thing of coming out of their own bullshit, and it's great. Yeah. It's really great. It just puts me into mind of there's a lot of anime that I love that is done quite ridiculously, and it's like that, but it's done lovingly and it's done with decent plotting and decent scripting and stuff. And I just absolutely fell in love with this film.
Yeah.
I think it's one of my favorite films I've seen in the last couple of years.
Hello.
Like, just because like it was just fun. Like big ideas work when it's got love behind it. I think I talked about this a few episodes back when I watched Psycho Gorman. Put me in mind of Psycho Gorman.
Yeah.
If Psycho Gorman had like a massive budget and a massive scope, because the scope of this film is huge. It is massive. Like,
I mean, it's in 2 parts. That's how big the scope is. They were just like, this is a 5-hour movie, you guys. Can we just make 2 movies? Is that okay? And somehow they're like, yeah, that seems fine. Yeah. What do you need? I mean, we need to make basically like 2 Marvel level movies. We're gonna need a lot of money. We got to blow a lot of stuff up, and we're gonna go to different time periods.
Yeah, it's great. And that's the thing, when they do like the time periods, they properly, like, all the period pieces look great. They're like, absolutely like so well like imagined and rendered. What's great is they've really matched. They've cleared in a lot of wire work and they've merged it with CGI. And at times you can see it, like, as you always can with CGI, but they've really lovingly pieced everything together. I think they just get that all on everything. Like the whole, Ouija sort of running over roofs, even down to that beautiful detail that I fell in love with the first time I watched Crouching Tiger. Just hearing material go...
so much of that.
When someone's, I just love it. Like, everything.
I mean, the action in this is big, right? It's like everything is large scale. There's not a lot of like cool hand-to-hand battles. It's a lot of wire work, CG, like lasers, robots. It's pure spectacle. So just so you know what you're getting into going in, it's all really well done. Don't get me wrong. I really, I've got time for a man standing on top of an enormous pole, and then kind of floating down. I've got a lot of time for the Dragon Ball Z style magic.
There's definitely a lot of DBZ influence and Last Airbender influence. There's a scene where, if there's any Dragon Ball Z fans listening, there's a scene where in a hospital, I'm not going to say what happened, but it's the closest I've ever seen to a real, like a live action version of the Cell Saga, the beginning of the Cell Saga that I've ever seen.
I don't know what that means, but I think I know the bit.
Yeah, there's just. I
liked how that egg thing kind of appeared in a very cool way. Yeah,
everything is great. There's So just going back to your point about you're not going to see great hand to hand combat. You are though. Like, it just is very like, it's like a dance. It's that sort of action. Because what I loved about this, and what some Marvel sort of lose in some big Hollywood blockbusters, is when you bring in the element of CGI, you go, well, we can do anything with this, with CGI. But there is a fight with 2 robots. So it's completely CGI. It's in a lift. And what they seem to have done is they've gone, let's not have them flying around and chasing and zap. They put them in a lift, and they clearly choreographed a hand-to-hand fight.
That's 100% like rotoscoped, isn't it? Yeah, because it looks like 2 humans fighting.
They've absolutely layered on time.
The exact same thought I had was, oh, this is like a really good fight in a lift. Yeah. They just happen to be robots. Yeah. But they're like punching and blocking and smashing each other around until they start lasering a bit. But like, it's really well choreographed.
Yeah. But again, like they contained it, and they gone, well, we don't want them like swoosh. Like there's all that collateral of a big sort of Hollywood movie, but it's like their actions are very sort of, confined, and it really means that like when they do that stuff that is clearly CGI, it feels real, and it feels like the blows are landing. It feels, what it gives it is jeopardy.
Yeah, it felt like a real fight, and for context, like in the scene afterwards, one of the robots is driving a spaceship through a building, and then the other one is pew-pewing him with his spaceship. So it does go from like one extreme to the other. But I suppose, that ticks all the boxes there. There's something for everyone. The close quarters combat in a lift, love that. Also, when a spaceship was driving through a parking lot, I was like, this is really fucking good CG. This is really good. Really good.
We could probably talk about this film for hours. I'm just aware that we've had a long podcast already. I don't think there's much else I could say about this film other than you've probably got the flavour of it now. And absolutely, if you can get hold of a copy, watch it.
Yeah, that's going to be the tricky part, I think. It's available on streaming in the US currently, and it is also distributed by Wellgo. So I can only hope that maybe it finds its way onto Hi-R in the near future. But I never really
wouldn't
know
be
how that
surprised,
works.
given the size of this film, and again how a lot of South Korean cinema is doing box office wise. It does well. Wouldn't be surprised if they're currently in distribution talks with.
I would hope so. Yeah,
it'll definitely go to streaming or limited cinema at some point.
For sure. Yeah, it demands a bigger international release because I think that there's massive crossover international potential for this.
Yeah, huge. But absolutely, if you can get a copy, do watch this. It is just everything I love. Martial arts mixed with sci-fi.
This is two for two in movies that I've gone. I think Matt's going to like this one.
Yeah. You really nailed it.
Between Project Wolf Hunting and Alienoid, in fact, and both out of South Korea, so they're having an absolute whale of a season in Dodge This so far. Yeah, big fan of it.
I texted you 5 minutes in though, didn't I? I was like, I love this already.
Yeah, I know. And today I went back and skimmed through it, and I was like, I'll just to remind myself, the various parts of the movie. And then I just watched that first scene, and I had the same feeling that I imagine you did when it started, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna like this. I think I'm
gonna try and rewatch it in the next few weeks just to see what I missed. Now I know the way the plot moves.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's one of those where once you know how it all pieces together, you can kind of go back and watch it and go, oh yeah, okay, oh I see. Mm-hmm,
but it got the same feeling about that I did when I watched RRR in terms of not only do I love this, I can't wait to show people this.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a good showcase for big budget.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hit the Oscar.
No, I don't think it's going to trouble the Oscars, but I think there's a very specific audience for this movie, and it is you and I, and ideally everyone else who listens to this podcast. So if you haven't tracked it down, do so, or just keep your eyes peeled because it's got to be showing up somewhere soon.
Yeah. Have you got an action replay?
Yes, I have several, in fact, because
So
I couldn't decide which I wanted. And again, I thought, oh yeah, I know what it is. And then during my little re-skim, I was like, I totally forgot about that. I think I'm going to go with the one that gave me the most joy, which I'm just going to say, The Big Hand.
Yeah, that is...
I don't want to say any more about it because it's not really a spoiler, is it? And
no,
if you've listened this far, then you're probably...
Say anymore. Needless to say, setup very much gets payoff.
Yes, it's just the perfect, oh yeah, I forgot they had that. That's excellent. That is really, an excellent use of that. Well done.
The whole sequence put me in
talking around
of Kung Fu Hustle as well.
Yeah, yes, there's definitely a lot of that Stephen Chow vibe, isn't there? Those two characters, the two sort of mages who are like these, I guess, are they wizards? They do magic stuff and they have trinkets.
They're merchants who have magical wares.
Yes, they've got all these apparatus that do fun things, they've got a cloak of invisibility. They've got these stickers that when you put a sticker on someone, it freezes them. It's so good, and they get to use them all. It's so fun.
They feel like characters. If you're playing a big Japanese RPG, they would appear at every location with their big bag and shop, and
you'd have to work out how am I going to use this weird magical item in this scene, and they do at the end. And there's a big ridiculous cartoonish bit of CG that was so deserved, and I was totally happy with it. And then it worked great. I've got a second and third place as well, or do you want to? Do you want to do your first place?
I want to hear them all. Okay. I want to see if you hit because I've got two.
Okay, perfect.
And I want to see if you hit the same one at all.
There's two that I remember shots where it's basically the girl from quote unquote the future has a semi-automatic handgun in the 1300s, and there's just a couple of slow-mo shots where it pulls out to a super wide, and it's someone flying through the air in slow motion and her pointing a gun at him, which just looks fucking cool. And there's another bit towards the end where, again, she is shooting someone in the 1300s with a semi-automatic handgun from the future / now. And a guy is like flying across and there's like broken glass. And it's just like a shot that looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Of those shots,
Did I get it yet?
No, you didn't.
Okay, then I've got one more. Then I got one more. It turns out we're doing action replay bingo. In the bit in the middle where it turns into a super mega exploding Marvel style movie and gains its full action chops, I would say, there's a bit where a car crashes and the guy flies out of the front window of the car and then goes through the front window of a neighboring bus.
I forgot about that. That is a great action replay.
I enjoyed that a great deal also.
The way his body flies as well is really disturbing.
Just great. Already you're like, oh, he's flying out of the car, but then there's a bus crashes and he goes into the bus. Yeah, loved it. Loved it. Really great CG in this movie, and I'm happy to shit on bad CG, but this is the movie that needs it, and it's good, and it's not janky. Yeah. And I didn't get with all 9 of my action replays. I didn't get your one.
Oh, I've thought of another one as well. So there's 3. I'm going to give one that I've just thought of just because you reminded me of that sequence. We're talking about the lasers earlier. They do a Gundam style laser, and I love a Gundam style laser.
Please
where
explain.
A laser sort of goes through something, and then a split second later it goes. Like, I love that. I fucking love that.
Just by the noises, I think I can picture it. Yes,
that's great. So there's that. So my 2 action replays, I'm going to go for the silly one first.
Great.
There's a magic fan where 2 cats become humans.
I can't believe we haven't even talked about the magic fan.
It's a magic fan, guys.
I've got to write notes. I've got to write more notes. One of the main guys is a wizard or a guy who does magic in the 1300s.
He's not even that. He's essentially, to use a term we've already used, he's essentially an airbender. They took all that sort of...
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And he's got a fan. And his fan can do magic, like do
because there's more magical
stuff.
Artifacts in this film.
But the fan's got a picture of 2 cats on it. Don't worry, the cats come to life and come out of the fan. What's that? Are they just cats? No, obviously there can also be 2 human men that do martial arts.
They're kind of his servants, and it's great when they're in human form doing cat things. As a cat owner, a lot of joy from that.
That is a very good moment. That's quite near the beginning of the movie, so don't worry about having to wait for that.
That's all the way through. You're going to get a lot of...
They set out that stall very early. Like, if you get through about the first 20 minutes and you're like, this is not for me, then just check out then. Just cut your losses. But if you get through the first 20 minutes and you're like, there's a lot that I've enjoyed so far, then you're only going to get more into it as it goes, I would say. Yeah. What's your other action replay? This is much.
This is my ultimate action replay. So I've pinned it into one moment, but the whole scene needs mentioning. There is a Mission Impossible rope lowered into a room scene where the guy we were just talking about, the airbender guy, he is trying to get an artifact that is crucial to the plot. The 2 mages are there. And what I love about this scene is it balances 3 things. It becomes a scene which has tension. It has a whole subplot going on, which is pure comedy. And it has some incredible martial arts. But essentially, it is visible wire work. So he's attached to a rope whilst his 2 cats in human form are lowering him down. And then this massive fight erupts around him. So they essentially have this beautiful sort of, he's on a wire and he's very much doing wire work, but it's very much pinned to a rope. He does a kick. He spins off something else. He does a kick. And in the space of about a second, he lands 4 kicks on one person. It goes... And it's just so slick. It's so goddamn slick that I rewound it because I was so excited.
Meanwhile, there is a Stephen Chow style comedic beat happening in the same room with we
won't spoil, but it's great.
Okay,
it's great.
It's very funny. It does. I would say, like the comedy. I'm a very harsh critic of comedy generally in movies and life, I suppose, or maybe just seasoned. We've just seen so much that it takes a lot. And sometimes with movies from different parts of the world. It just lands different, the sensibilities are different. But this one, I think, just treads the right balance of slightly OTT, sort of that Hong Kong in-your-face type comedy, and a sort of subtlety. And I think for me, it was just the right balance in between.
You might say it was a balance as well as a magical sword pulled from a magical fan.
Wow.
Had the perfect balance.
There's also a sword that he tries to get out of the fan
Which,
as well.
if until he's worthy as an umbrella, whole lot of stuff going on in this film.
Good Lord. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of this.
Normally I would we've spoiled the film. Nah.
There's no way. There's so much happening in this film. There's films worth of films in here. I think if you've got this far, like we said with Project Wolf Hunting, you'll know by now if you want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I don't think we've spoiled anything for you. If you have seen it, I would love to hear from other people who've seen it and their thoughts, because yes, currently it is residing in the RRR hidden gem category until it gets more international distribution and everyone gets a chance to see it.
This is my film of the season so far.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. All right. We're only 3 in, but pretty
and
good.
I loved Project Wolf Hunting.
And Patan is also there.
It's good. It's good.
Okay. Well, this is gold medal.
Patan,
episode 3.
The credits are still rolling from when we're in the cinema.
True. We could still be in a Patan flashback. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. All right. This has been a good one. I'm glad season 3 is doing great. We got there eventually. Sorry for the delay.
2, by the way.
I'm in season 3 of Patan, and I've watched too many bad straight-to-video movies in the search for the good ones that I lovingly bring to you.
You're listening to Simon's Gradual Breakdown.
I should do like a Patreon where I just review all the shit that I don't want to talk about on the actual podcast, like a spin-off, like a YouTube second channel where it's just like the sort of like B-sides of the podcast, where I'm like, hi guys, this week I'm going to be talking about Code of the Assassins. Look, I didn't love it, all right, but I'm going to talk about it for half an hour.
I'm not going to help you with that one.
No, he's not interested. It's hard enough getting him to watch 2.5 hours of Alienoid, but we got there eventually.
It's not hard. I just have to find the time.
Katie
said this to me, my wife. She said, why don't you just watch it in the mornings? I was like, I can't watch this type of film in the morning. Actually.
No, I actually will agree with you on that. Also, there's no room in my house that I can make dark enough to watch movies in a comfortable setting, by which I mean my lounge has 2 windows, one with a curtain and one with no curtain. So
and if
I can't.
You are trying to understand that sentence from Simon, just go and watch the film 1 Hour Photo and you'll get an idea into No, it's not 1 Hour Photo, it's Insomnia. Damn. Botch my
another Robin Williams
reference.
Yeah, another Robin Williams.
Same era.
Where he's creepy. That's right.
We should go.
Creepy Robin
We
Williams.
should go.
We must. And all that remains to say is that next episode, it's gonna be John Wick 4. It's gonna have to be John Wick 4. That's all. That's all I've got for you. Please come and find us on all the socials. It's all linked below. Hit us up if you've seen Alienoid, or, my God, if you want to recommend something that we haven't seen or haven't talked about.
Yeah, please.
I welcome your recommends so that I don't have to keep dredging through. All that they need to be is good action movies from around the world, and ideally current. We're steering away from the archives.
Yeah, I was going to say, we try and do up-to-date current, but if you've got an absolute touch point that we have completely missed in our back catalogue, please.
You love to see it.
And then see you next time for Baba Yaga.
We will be back for you. We're coming back.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you just.
Here he comes, mate. I guess he's back. I guess
Bye,
you could
guys.
say I'm back.
Oh, wait, now I'm doing John Wick.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
not
you
John
could
Wick.
say people keep asking me if I'm
not
back.
even-
So
not
I
even
guess you
Crocodile
could say
Dundee.
I'm back. You call that a nunchucks?